Guys TV presents Beer Banter with Rock and Roll by the Pint. And here's your host, Greg Johnson.
Hey, thanks a lot, and welcome to this special Beer Guys TV podcast. And, boy, I tell you what, I've got my friends with, as usual, Jerry W. Cook.
Hey, Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. And Shane Zeppelin.
Hello.
So the producers are here, along with my co-host, Brent Anderson.
How you guys doing out there?
All right. Well, as I mentioned, this is a special podcast, and you can see we got beer and we got glasses, and with a little bit more about all that, Jerry, you kind of helped set this whole thing up. Why don't you give us a little background as to who we've got as guests and what this is all about?
Well, guys, as you see before you, we have some really cool-looking glasses here.
These are cool.
These are cool, aren't they? And this is from an outfit called Rock and Roll by the Pint, right? Now, as you see, my glass has the one, the only Ronnie James Dio.
Look out!
Look out! Okay, and your glasses, they have Mr. Slash.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. Well, there's a certain story behind these glasses. These images were taken by none other than legendary, world-renowned.
Oh, come on. Spill the beans, Jer.
Gene Kirkland.
Wow.
Rock and roll photographer. And so this is something that he has started with friends. And as a matter of fact, we have Gene Kirkland with us.
No way.
As a matter of fact,
Wait.
Gene.
Yes.
How are you doing, sir?
Hello, sir. How are you?
We're doing great. How are things out there in La La Land?
Oh, you didn't have to start off with that. Oh, you could have come up with that. How original. How original.
How are you doing, sir?
Fine now that I have a beer in front of me.
Oh, cool.
All
right.
Well.
And James, I understand that you have a special guest with you as well. Go ahead and introduce him.
I have the one, the only, the musician, TV reality star, James Lomenzo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
And gentlemen,
right.
I'd like to
This
say
is
that
awesome.
I have a special guest with me as well as Gene Kirkland in the studio here today. I've got my
Okay.
little friend Ronnie James Dio in the form of a glass.
Yes, look at that.
Oh.
And in that
perfect.
form glass
Hey,
is
that's
some
the
beer.
next best thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
We're actually
So,
enjoying
Gene,
these pint glasses too.
Go ahead, Gene.
No, it's great to be here. It's great to be talking to you guys about these.
Okay. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was going to say, first of all, thanks for taking the time. I know you guys are busy, and you've got extremely busy schedules out there in L.A., and I know James has been busy doing some TV stuff, and Gene, it sounds like you have plenty going on as well. So, again, thanks for taking the time. We've got, Jerry, I know was telling me about this Rock and Roll by the Pint deal, and I said, okay, well, what's the story here? He goes, well, they're these glasses with these special prints. You can't get them just anywhere. You go to the website, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so he got us some glasses, courtesy of Gene, and I'm like, wow, these are really cool. What's the story? Well, again, these are prints that only, of course, Gene has furnished and produced, and that, of course, begs the question, Gene, what's the story on the prints? What's the background? You've been a rock and roll photographer for how long?
I started actually professionally in '81 for the courtesy of Ronnie James Dio. I met him for about 10 minutes after a show at the Black Sabbath show, Mob Rules, and he was kind enough to sign an autograph for about 5 of us backstage, and I felt like I got to know him in those 5 minutes for the rest of my life, and I never would have known that I would become his friend up until he passed.
I used to be one of those kids that would hang out, try to get an autograph with guys. I hang out by the buses and stuff, and
One of those.
one of those guys. And most of the time, great experience. But in particular, I got to meet Ronnie during the Lock Up the Wolves tour, and he was very gracious that he would sit there. I mean, it was hours. He sat there and he signed everybody's whatever they had, a pick guard, a piece of paper, $1. He would sign it all, and he would talk to everybody.
I've seen him do that many times. If you met him once and you talked to him for maybe a half an hour and didn't see him again for a couple of years or whatever, he would remember your name and remember where he met you and what you guys talked about. That's just the way he was.
Yeah. Brent and I actually we saw him during the Angry Machines tour.
Yep, that was, yep.
Yeah, that was an amazing show. It was a smaller venue, but man, you wouldn't know it by the way that band performed. Man, they gave it their all, and to see Ronnie, he was such a small person in stature, but the voice that just exploded out of that man was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so apropos that when I decided to do these glasses and these designs, it was me and my wife were taking a walk one day, and I was just trying to figure out. Everybody's doing books and photo books, and I'm a big fan of really cool merchandising. I really hate sucky, fucked up merchandising. I hate it. So I was walking up, and I figured that
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, no, wait, here we go.
Exactly. In fact, we're opening our
while you're
beers
talking,
right now.
Lift your glass.
While you're
Yeah.
talking.
So
I can say while you're talking there, Gene, you've inspired us to crack open our beverages that we have sitting in front of us. So
about time.
yeah, feel free to keep talking.
we already started cracking open.
So now,
basically, I was saying that I wanted
was
to
the
make.
Dio glass the first one that you were inspired to do?
Yeah, well, I figured that if I'm going to do these things, I was noodling around with, just playing around with some photos that I had taken, and I was revisiting some of the very last pictures I had taken of Ronnie live on the Heaven and Hell tour in '09, and I hadn't seen these before, so I was just playing around with these photos. And I am not a big fan of Photoshop. I actually don't like it, but I was kind of noodling around and decided to try some stuff. And a reflection that came across my computer screen that was in a glass of lemonade illuminated. And I said, oh, this is kind of weird. And so it just looked like, I wonder if this would make a good glass. And it did.
I think it makes a great glass. Man.
Yeah, no, it would.
Oh, it's a perfect glass, and it's better with beer in it.
Well, that gives it ballast.
So I have a question.
Keeping
in, this is Brent here. Keeping with this whole theme here. James, both of you were friends. Gene and James, you were both friends with Ronnie. Was Ronnie an enjoyer of the beer every so often, or no?
Oh, Ronnie was fantastic. I mean, Gene could tell you, but I can tell you from personal experience. I was on tour with him last time with Megadeth in 2000. I'm guessing 7, right? Mm-hmm. Heaven and Hell tour. He was with Black Sabbath at the time. And no, I'm sorry, they're called Heaven and Hell, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I had the privilege and the pleasure of sitting down with him on many an evening at the bar at the hotel. And I mean, like two old Italians will do. I mean, we had some very spirited conversations over some pretty straight ahead beers, actually, surprisingly so. But yeah, he definitely loved to have a beer. And he just loved to like get into that space of being a normal guy. He had like these superpowers. He really did.
Wow.
That guy could sing with this unearthly, powerful voice, and yet he was one of the most down-to-earth people that you could absolutely meet. And he made everybody feel special. And you're absolutely right, having that long conversation with him as you did. I don't mean to make you feel maybe less special, but he would do this with everyone, and that was kind of his payback to his fans. He appreciated it.
That makes me no less special because
we make Cherry feel very special.
That's your own show. That's another show I'm not a part of.
Ronnie had a particular favorite style or a beer.
No, he would take whatever was on tap. He was just a regular guy.
I think he preferred. I think I recall him preferring a bit of the Newcastle or Guinness.
Yeah, he did like Guinness. Yeah,
Guinness.
Guinness.
But I've seen fans buy him beers, and he would graciously take them at the bar and have them and be grateful and just sit down with you and have a many times I had a few. I think I even drove him home from a local pub here. I was designated driver. That just happened by proxy.
Yeah, I do recall an interview that he did where he said that Jimmy Bain turned him on to Guinness, the Irishman that he
yeah,
is.
proper Irishman, absolutely. That would make sense.
Mother's milk.
Yeah.
Mother's milk. Very good.
Well, Gene, getting back to the glasses now, the photo of Dio, where was that taken?
Actually, that was taken at the very last time I saw them, and I believe it was probably up in Mountain View it might be the last show of the tour, or at least very close to the very last end of the. It was towards the end of the tour, if not
Was
the
this
last
the Dio
show.
band or Heaven
This
and
was
Hell?
Heaven and Hell. No, this was Heaven and Hell. This was the last images I would have ever taken of him live. I did do a last and final photo shoot with him that nobody knew it was going to be the last, unfortunately, and sad to say. But these were the last live pictures, and this was the only one that stuck out of this series. This was actually from an encore. This either has to be from a song, Neon Nights, or it's from Die Young. And that was the last encore of the last show, the time I saw him, and it just had to be my first glass.
Wow.
Great emotive picture too.
I mean, the photo it's such a perfect photo because it's such an iconic pose, if you want to call it a pose, but an iconic image of Dio on stage.
Yep. If you'd ever seen him live,
Yeah.
then you definitely would see that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like I said, he was a smaller guy, and he knew that in order to resonate to the guys up in the cheap ass seats, that he really projected, not with just his voice, but with his body as well.
Oh, he had a presence. He was everything you want your rock star to be. That's just he set the bar so high for everybody else. I'm just sorry to say, he is the quintessential rock star.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Well, Gene, I was just going to ask you more about. Now you've got. Do you have a large selection of photos set up for these glasses for future releases, or are you only doing so many, or what is your plan with the glasses going forward?
No, I have two out now. One of Dio, Long Live Rock and Roll, and then the Slash is 5 o'clock somewhere coming from his Snake Pit record. But I'm intending on releasing one a month, kind of like a band would release a single from their album, as it were, if there is such a thing as albums anymore, or singles, or whatnot.
Yeah, of course there is. In our heads.
But
You have 3 of the month.
yeah, but I have a new one coming out. Actually, it's being in production right now for sampling. I have a Man on the Silver Mountain coming out,
Oh,
cool.
and it's just as badass as you would think it is.
Ah.
Cool.
And so that's going to be worked on. And then the next one after that, I can already tell you it's going to be a stand-up and shout glass. So I do have a theme coming, and there is going to be many more to keep going until I run out of images, which won't happen anytime too soon.
No time soon. I've seen some of your stash.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Did you want to tell us a little bit about the Slash glass? I mean, that's an amazing one too.
well, I figured that once I had a Dio, it's like, of course, being a friend, then I said, well, I gotta pick on someone else. So next thing was Slash. I was scanning some of my old GNR stuff, and I found a couple of shots from the Illusion tour, and I just one that I scanned. I actually was at James Lomenzo's house using his little desk as my little workstation, and I was scanning some Illusion stuff, and I found a picture of Slash playing guitar behind his head, and I go, I've never seen this one before. And of course, I played around with that stupid Photoshop thing and tended to think that this might work out, and then it did, and everything, just as silly as it sounds, fell into place as it should. And I showed Slash the glass of Ronnie. He said, first things out of his mouth, can I have this? I said, of course you can have it. and then I said, well, can we do one of you? And then so on and so forth. And I showed him the mock-up, and it just kind of, he said, sure. So, I mean, I wasn't going to do these unless they came out looking better than I did in my prototype, and which they did, and I'm really happy with them. So
Good. They look nice.
yeah, I'm looking at signing some other artists, but I'm just really concentrating on getting these right now, and then I just want to keep a series going. But there's other people in my mind that I really want to go after, but I really can't tell you right now who that is.
Sure.
Okay.
So it must be kind of tricky to get, the copyrights and all that with all the image, laws and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about the obstacles that you
Well,
go
he can't
through
really talk about
get
that.
the okay?
He can't really talk about that. We generally send in a guy named Vito.
Vito the neck breaker.
things happen.
Hey, people disappear.
Yeah.
Go on vacation or
No,
something.
nobody disappears. They just don't show up.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the beer you guys have in your glass. James, let's start with you.
Well, we were
what
thinking-
beer are you enjoying in your glass today?
Gene and I last night, what we were doing last night, we were hanging out, and we thought, you know what, for the beer guys, let's have some Italian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were supposed to have Peroni.
Well, actually, we did.
Did you say Peroni?
No, we did, but we finished that waiting for you to get yourself together. So we already went through
Peroni's
that.
good
Yeah,
beer.
so now
It is.
we've moved on to Stella Artois, which we enjoy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But although my favorite,
both
my,
good choices.
my favorite has to be though, whatever beer happens to be in front of me and cold at the time.
Yeah, that's most of the
There you
ones we
go.
find.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's always sometimes the best option and only option, and that's we follow that rule sometimes too.
We'll talk about the beer we have in our glass. This is Shane, and I've got Eye of the Hawk. It's by the Mendocino Brewing Company, which actually is out in California.
That's out your way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's kind of a hoppy, malty beer. It's not real hoppy, I guess, but more malty. And it's got a really nice flavor. It's more of a kind of a, I don't know. It's not really copper, I guess, maybe a dark copper color.
Yeah.
And it's got kind of a sweet edge to it.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that in a slash glass today.
Nice.
Oh.
How was the
Yeah,
how was the finish?
Yeah.
How was the
Yep.
finish
Oh,
on
good.
that beer?
How was the finish
The,
there?
the finish is very clean.
Like,
There's a little bit of, I don't know what the term is. It's kind of a tallowish, like after you have a glass of milk. Kind of
cloying mouth effect?
Yeah, the little. Yeah, how did you say that, Brent?
Cloying malt.
I think you've had a few of
Yeah,
those.
our resident expert here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that at the end, but otherwise it's pretty clean.
let me ask you a
Yeah,
question.
they
Do you have
call
a
me-
light in your refrigerator?
It's always on.
Nobody's home.
Oh, dude.
We'll be back with more Beer Guys TV right after this.
Hey, this is the Godfather. If you know what's good for you, you'll stick around for more Beer Guys TV. Gabish?
Make your home stand out with custom cabinets from K&L Cabinets of Glencoe, Minnesota. Let Gordy use his many years of experience to custom craft a design just for you. Every piece handmade for your home. K&L Cabinets of Glencoe, Minnesota. Craftsmanship you can count on. And we're back on this special Beer Guys TV podcast. Greg Johnson along with Jerry Cook, Shane Zeppelin, and Brent Anderson. And our special guests all the way in Los Angeles, California. We've got Gene Kirkland and James Lomenzo. And,
Lomenzo.
hey, thanks, guys.
Hello.
Wow, okay. Thank you guys for joining us on this podcast. We're talking about these really cool beer glasses that I believe, Gene, are these only available through the website?
These, yes, you can find them on Slash's website, Dio's website, where you can see them, but they're only available on rockandrollbythepint.com.
Okay, that's rock and roll with just an N in the middle, right? Rock and roll.
Just like
Yep.
the
As a matter of fact,
roll.
we,
Yes.
we have a graphic on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, like this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, rock and roll by thepint.com. We got it right there. Yep.
Yeah. Yes. you
Oh,
can
we're
see it.
good.
And by the way, I just have to mention, these are real photos. These aren't just, some fans have said something to the fact that these are just like quick stenciled drawing kind of whatever. These come from real photos. I actually have these photos hanging in my house. They are real pictures. I mean, they're just, people have actually bought them and hung them in their house. They come from real photographs.
Well, Gene, those guys can't drink with us.
No, they will not.
They will not.
No, they will not.
And they can't drink with us either.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you right now that this is the only time that I will be drinking out of this glass, because after this, it's going to be going into my glass cabinet, and this is a collectible.
That's
as far as I'm
sad.
concerned.
That's sad, man.
Yes.
You have to take it out.
No, that just means
Oh,
you can
no.
retire. You can retire
Have a
this
special
one,
beer in there.
but you can buy the next one.
Oh, you're a salesman, boy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, there you go. You buy one for the glass case and one to actually use. That's
I
a good
can't wait
idea.
to finish
When to
mine and
show
get the new
off.
one.
Yay!
And I'm hoping that's going on the top shelf, and you're leaving the Muppets glasses down at the bottom, right?
Oh
No.
yes, you wacky kid, you. So enough about me. My buddy James Lomenzo, man.
What about it?
What about it, dude? You're a TV star.
No,
yes,
never.
you are.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, James. And how do you feel about rats?
Guys, rats. I love rats. We're not talking about
rats.
We're not talking about that band, right?
In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, James is on a reality show, and I watched it last night, and you were on a rat hunt.
We were on a rat hunt actually, and that was more of a surprise to us than it was to the to the rats.
You did awesome. You finished in first place last night.
Well, this is the Amazing Race, right? That's and it definitely lives up to the title. When I agreed to do this with my friend Mark Abatista, who's a lawyer who does a lot of stuff for publishing, a lot of the heavy metal guys that I kind of came up with. He really wanted to do this, and we were doing the band Hail, and we were running around in Moscow trying to catch a plane. And he turns to me and he says, James, have you ever seen The Amazing Race? I said, yeah, I watched it years ago, but it's kind of, I didn't watch it because I shut it off because it kind of annoyed me. There's a lot of people screaming at each other in cabs. And he goes, no, it's a great show. You should check it out. He goes, you ever think of doing it? And I said, well, no, I never thought of doing it. He goes, well, would you like to? I said, are you asking me to? He says, yeah. He goes, because that's basically what we do every day. We just try to get ourselves from one place to the other and not fail and then move on to the next thing. And I thought, oh, okay, I think I'm qualified for that.
Yeah. So it had to have been much harder to get on the show than just like, yeah. So somebody must have approached you guys, or did you guys approach them? Or
No,
how did that come to be?
How'd you get on there?
No, you know what? Crazy enough, again, Mark was really driven to do this. I thought it was an interesting, concept. I had never done anything like it before in my life. And so we actually did it the way everybody else does it. Traditionally, we put together a little videotape. The two of us sat and bantered for a while. We submitted it to CBS, and literally we got it in within 30 seconds of the cutoff time. I mean, that because I was busy doing some other video stuff here at Monster House, so we had to cram it in. And we literally got, because we had to get it down to, I think, 30 megabytes or something like that. It was some silly small number that they could only accept. And it kept coming up to 32. Yeah, so I said, we'll cut the title off, So we finally got it uploaded, and they called us within a week. I mean, they were thrilled to have us because, oh, well, that guy's, a rock musician. We never had one of those, and that's a really strange pairing. So, yeah, they called us right away.
Well, I got to ask, did it turn out like, is it going as you thought? Is it harder than you thought? Easier than you thought?
You know what? It was it was easier and harder than I thought. Initially, the reason I got into it and thought that I could actually contribute to it, from both sides, from a participant and from a spectator side, because, I mean, that's part of it as well. It's a reality show, so you want to watch how people kind of do this thing, is because I've been all over the world so many times throughout my whole career. So I felt comfortable in that kind of uncomfortable environment, as did Mark. So we thought, jet lag, sleeping in airports, eating bad food,
nothing unusual.
Yeah, dysentery. That's just a day at the office.
That's so rock and roll.
Well,
So anyway,
I got a question then. Did you ever come against any resistance that people may have thought that you had an advantage over the rest of the people who didn't have the kind of experience that all the other ones did, as far as world travel or anything like that?
You know what? The Amazing Race doesn't look at that from a casting point of view, because what they do is they try and suss out all the people across the board. So we might actually have that in our advantage, but there might be somebody who can speak several more languages than we can speak. They might have that advantage over us. It's all an across the board thing. So they're very clever about the way they cast it, because they work on personalities and how it'll look and how the people pair up, and they know where they're sending everybody. We don't know till we get there, which is the excitement of the show.
So did they ever approach you and said, okay, we need one good fight from you guys? Can you guys argue for us?
You know what? I'm really not allowed to talk about any of that sort of thing.
You were trying, weren't you?
But you know what? The truth of the matter is, it is as it goes. I can tell you that, unabashedly. Whatever you see up there is what really happens. They don't make you do anything. And it's an interesting thing, because I think when you get thrown into, even in touring, I mean, the best and the worst comes out of bandmates. It just always happens, because you're constantly pressed about trying to get places on time, talk to everybody you need to talk to, try and get some rest, try to get some party time in, It's all just a giant, it's a giant taxation on your energy. And so it's the people who can kind of keep that in check and keep moving forward, they're the ones who kind of excel both in the Amazing Race and in our business of rock and roll as well.
Oh. Well, have you had the opportunity to encounter any interesting beers in that particular travel then?
There was one point where we weren't really sure if we were ahead or behind. And we actually thought to ourselves, well, if we're behind, maybe we should try some of the local beers.
It beats the local water.
Yeah, let's take a little time with this, you know? We actually considered that for a minute or two.
It would be safer than the local water, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's a very good point. That was one thing that was what my rock and roll lifestyle taught me was don't ever drink water anywhere, you know?
So I not only have you've been doing the Amazing Race, and you're obviously a professional musician as well.
I think so.
And I was doing a little digging to find out a little more information.
We call it Googling. You were Googling.
I was curious as to the mention of the Warwick Buzzard bass, and I was wondering what drew you to that thing. What made you decide that was the bass you kind of got a feel for?
Oh, I've got a wonderful story about that. Okay, so initially, I have to say I've always been a fan of John Entwistle. And, you know, coming up as a little kid, you know, he was like my bass guitar hero because when he played bass, it sounded different than everybody else's. And, you know, he had such preponderance, and like The Who kind of worked because of him and because of Keith Moon, as well as Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend. So, I mean, for me as an aspiring bass player, it was a very exciting notion to follow him. So later on in life, I was with the Warwick Company. I was playing. They had great basses, and I'd been using them throughout White Lion, my career, doing all the videos and live shows, and I loved the instruments. And I saw in one of those string packages that John Entwistle had this really ugly heart. It looked like it had been hacked up, like a piece of wood that had been hacked up, and somebody put strings on it. And I thought, that's ugly. And so I just kind of cataloged it. Stayed in my head and kind of cataloged it. I'd never seen him play the instrument, but I was aware that it existed somehow. So anyway, as the band was moving on, my guitar player Vito at the time was kind of, he got into this like, everybody's playing traditional instruments now, so we have to too. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way at the time because I had these fantastic sounding instruments that looked a little novel. So I immediately called up Warwick and I go, do you guys make that thing I saw in the package? They go, oh, that's the Buzzard. Yeah, we have that. So I said, could you send me one? And they said, really? You want to play this? A very big, strange bass. And I said, yeah, send me one because I want to annoy my guitar player. And so...
good reason.
And so they didn't get it to me forever because I guess they had to get it from Germany and all that. By that time, the band had disbanded, or at least the drummer and myself had left the band. And it shows up at my door. I was actually visiting my parents in Brooklyn, and they said, where are you? I'm in Brooklyn, yeah. So they sent it to me, and this gigantic coffin shows up at the front, you know. UPS drops it off.
Oh, man.
And I go, what the hell is this? They go, oh, this is that bass. I go, oh, well, it's the Buzzard. Okay, well, let me take a look, you know. So I unwrapped the thing. And God, it was more ghastly than it looked like on the package, you know. And so I was like, I just have to try this, you know. So I picked it up, put it against my ear, and kind of struck a note, and it sounded just like a big Steinway. And I was like, no, don't tell me it sounds good, you know. And so, you know, so I started tinkering with it, and it became, I absolutely fell in love with this disgusting looking thing, and it became kind of the bass that I played probably for 10 years, I guess. I still have one here in Monster House somewhere, all the way in the back. Yeah.
I find that that's very interesting to me that you're telling me that. I mean, I've seen what the bass looks like, and when you're telling me that the way that body is shaped on that bass produces that huge of a sound, that's amazing to me.
Well, it's all in construction. It's all in the kinds of woods they use. There are like 7 laminates in the neck. Any of you guitar people know what that means. That means it's very rigid, so it transmits vibrations very quickly. And as weird as the shape looks, it's a very clever design because it puts the bass in a very good place on your body where it's actually very easy to play, and it's very easy to kind of stretch your hands and be able to move up really high. So I'm actually probably physically a little too small for that instrument because I think it was made for, you know, for John's frame. But I loved it. As soon as I kind of strapped the thing on, I was like, this is so easy to play. I used it throughout all the Pride and Glory stuff. I brought it back when I started playing with with Black Label Society. I mean, he's really always been my favorite instrument. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's actually...
It's just cool as hell. I'm sorry.
Well, some people think so. Yeah, actually, my wife thinks it looks cool. So
no, it's great.
But you know, she married me, so what do you know?
Well, I got a question, James. You know, back when MTV used to actually be
good
music TV. You know, and the White Lion videos were playing in heavy rotation and stuff. And you know, and I went back and I watched some of those old White Lion videos. And
heavy rotation
why can't a bass player get no love? What the hell?
Heavy rotation
where was the FaceTime for James?
Wait, I want to go back.
About that?
Heavy rotation. Were you talking about that Unskinny Bop video?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't.
Or Whitesnake. No, that's a Whitesnake video. Heavy rotation. That's that chick
that's
on the
gyration.
car.
Gyration.
TV.
Different adjective. No, I actually, you know what? I got to tell you, back in the day, I mean, we came to fisticuffs sometimes over those videos. Because,
I'll bet.
Because everybody really wanted to get laid more. And it didn't seem like we should be, but that's what everybody wanted, right?
There's one video in particular, and I was talking with Brent about this. It was the Radar Love video, right?
Oh, I'm sexy in that one.
A bass-driven song, but I think you got maybe 10 seconds of FaceTime on that video.
But it was awesome, like, 10 seconds, though.
Well, here's what happened, dude. That was the best part of that video for me. My best recollection about it was taking my ZX-10. I just had some race pipes put on it. I moved the thing up to like a stage 2 race bike. And the Chips gave me the Mojave Desert to basically run a mile as fast as I could do it. And, you know, they had helicopters following me and a couple of stunt guys. And my direction was this. The guy who was doing the video said, all right, so what I want you to do is you got these 2 guys in the cars. They're going to head off, okay? When they get about a quarter mile down the road, I want you to just wing up there as quick as you can on your bike and give them the horn. As soon as you get back there, they're going to split apart, and you're going to go through and just go as fast as you can go. And I thought, wow, really? Okay, cool. So he calls action, the helicopter takes off, the 2 cars start moving ahead, and so I wait, and then as soon as they go, I gun the thing, I start catching up with them, and I hit the horn. And I can kind of peripherally see, like, one of the guy on the right side kind of look at the other one on the left side, and they start splitting, and then he kind of grins. And then just as I'm about to move, they come together. Like, they're totally like stuntman fucking with the rock star guy, you know? So, anyway, that wasn't a very good take. I didn't crash or kill.
That's cool to hear that.
Yeah. So anyway, so after that had happened, we did another take, and that time they let me blow through. And so I just bought the bike maybe before we went on tour a month earlier. And so I was just dying to see what you could do. I think it was supposed to clock out at about 170 miles an hour. So I said, let me see. And so I just kind of pulled back on it. And the thing started moving, and the faster it started moving, the more exciting the ride got. And all of a sudden, I started seeing those little split lines down the middle of the highway turn into like a straight line. And the vortex kind of moved around me. And I started looking at the thing. It was going up 125, 128, 132, 146. And then all of a sudden, I thought to myself, shit, I don't have a helmet on.
Oh, boy. Oops.
And so it went, I've been riding all night. Yeah, I had to back it up. So I'll never really know if I
stop suddenly at 150.
Yeah. I'll never know if
so
170 is the number.
The insurance company didn't say, hey, maybe we should not have him do that.
Well, no. I mean, I think the overriding consideration was to support your point. He's just the bass player.
I figured you hear. Okay, now get James off the bike. Todd, get that wig on.
Is Billy Sheenan available right now?
Billy can't ride.
What's he doing?
Sounds good. We'll take another break here on the Beer Guys TV podcast and be back with more right after this.
I'm McLeod County Sheriff Scott Raymond. The leading cause of all teenage deaths is motor vehicle crashes. So please,
pay attention to your driving.
Stay off your cell phone.
And buckle up. All our lives depend on it.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Beer Guys TV, Rock and Roll by the Pint. And we've got special guests with us today, Gene Kirkland and James Lomenzo.
All right, from Los Angeles.
Yes.
Right? Well, you guys are in L.A., right?
All the way from the Los Angeles, my friend.
Yes, all the way here.
That's cool. That's cool.
Sorry.
All right. That's,
that's
some of us are
alive.
alive.
That's where I grew up.
All right. All right. All right. Some of us are alive.
That's where I grew up.
Jerry grew up in California.
Did you really? Where?
What's that?
Oh my, what?
No, I'm saying he grew up.
I lived off of La Cienega.
Clancy's Bar?
La Cienega.
He was born behind Lancey's bar.
La Cienega.
La Cienega Boulevard.
All right.
But he was smart enough to get out.
Well, you're right by the airport, so that's a perfect plan.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice. He actually came up here to Minnesota to music school.
Yeah, I attended music tech up here in Minnesota. It's now called what is it called now? Musicians Institute or Minneapolis?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Oh, they bought that as well.
Institute of Art. But anyways,
cool. Well, how are you doing in that
degree in music theory and
how are you doing in that Musicians Institute?
Now he's a beer guy.
Yeah.
Well, I hear rumors that Jerry's a drummer.
Yeah, used to be.
Yep. Oh, you still are, Jerry. You still are.
He's too modest, but actually Jerry is he's a good musician.
That's enough about me.
As is Brent's a musician as well. So
Brent
what's your expertise there, Brent?
The cajon. No,
okay.
They every once in a while people get me to throw my voice and act like I can sing. So
okay,
but it's
we'll do it. Good.
Jerry
What do you got? What do you got?
Been friends for a long time and met the guy. He ordered a sandwich from me.
Yep.
True musician here, working at a fast food place.
I met Brent. He was a sandwich artist.
I was. And Jerry's catchline was, "Get stupid with them olives on my sandwich."
Hang on a second.
Yeah, and then being at the small town that we were in, I was surprised to see a fellow musician of this caliber, so close to me. So we formed a friendship, and we were in a band together for about 3 years.
3 years too long.
Yeah. And anyways, that's enough about us.
And now they're beer guys together.
Yeah.
So that's
and we're drinking our beer out of
our Rock and Roll by the Pint beer
right.
glasses, only available at rockandrollbythepint.com.
Buy two because you have two hands.
Thank you.
That's right. One for the collection, one to drink out of. Hey, Gene, tell us quickly about the glasses. Now, if people go on the site and they plunk in their information, they order one of these up.
They come in sets, though, don't they?
No.
They come.
Okay, they're individual.
Yep.
All right, cool.
How does if they order that? What's the procedure then? I understand the shipping is top notch.
Well, we try to be. I mean, it's like my wife is very, very OCD about things, and she makes sure that it's tighter than a monkey's butt, and it will go out, and it will.
And that's tight.
Yeah,
we're still talking about glasses, aren't we?
Oh, sorry.
You know,
sorry.
Greg.
I trailed off.
How come that Campuchian keeps getting me the eye at the zoo every time we go?
I thought you were a Gibbon man.
Help me. Okay.
Sorry, Gene.
Right,
go ahead.
Getting back to the monkey's butt.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
no, we carefully wrap these very, very diligently as far as making sure that they don't get broken. Actually have thrown them off the building where we live and making sure that anything the post office can do, we've done better. We've drop kicked them.
And then they actually tried it in the boxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then we put them in the boxes.
Well, they are sturdy glasses. I mean, they're not real thin. I mean, they're a nice thick glass.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, that beer
isn't.
That beer is not leaking out of the bottom.
Being
of
that
it
I was the
whatsoever.
guy that opened the box on these, I'm like, Jesus Christ! I mean, how much fucking bubble wrap do you need on the glass?
Hey, what's that bubble wrap talk? What's that bubble wrap talk?
I appreciated the fact that that they were wrapped so well.
Well, thank you. We really want. I mean, although they are absolutely made in the USA, they have to be wrapped tightly in the USA, and it's got to be done right.
That's really something to say too, because a lot of the stuff is made overseas. I really like that they're made in the USA.
That's how
that really means a lot.
That's actually how this started, because I researched and found a company that I looked on the internet and found that I thought were to be still in the United States area, and they had left Nevada and they relocated to overseas, and I ended up reaching someone overseas, and I realized that this is not going to work. I need someone that speaks English, and where are you located? I was dialing a 702 Nevada area code, and I got this, so this is not going to go anywhere. So then actually, they were kind enough to refer me to a company that is only about 10 minutes away from where I live. And I thought, okay, I'll try this. I called them up. The company, I reached the president and owner of the company. I made an appointment with him. My wife and I actually went over there. He gave us a tour of the entire factory, the plant, from start to finish, and went through how it's silk screened. And actually, I walked away going, this is going to work. This is really going to work. And they have been helping us the whole way, making sure that it's done right. And whatever it's done, if there's a single flaw in the glass, they take it back, redo it. Whatever it is, it's done right. I mean, I wouldn't actually be doing this if it wasn't for every component, every person, everything done with this.
And
That's awesome.
As Gene's armchair therapist, he's finally gotten over those dreams of Kevin O'Leary dropping pennies into his pocket.
Good. The therapy is working.
It is.
So Jerry,
Yeah.
you are enjoying what kind of beer in your glass?
I'm actually enjoying tonight a Foster's, and I put a photograph on the Rock and Roll by the Pint Facebook page.
Yes, check that out.
Of this nice Foster's in a Dio glass, and as I said in my photo, Foster's may be Australian for beer, but Dio.
You actually, Jerry, you put a nice little part on our Facebook page.
That's good. That's good. Jerry's got a good mind to come up with these marketing slogans.
Yeah, but Foster's, and the reason I'm drinking Foster's is, number one, it was free tonight.
And that's always good.
Not necessarily free. I got to pay back Shane for it. But anyways, I do like Foster's beer. It's got a really clean, crisp taste to it. It doesn't have any.
That won't slow you down.
It won't slow me down.
I've seen after you finish one of those, you bounce like a kangaroo.
Yeah, it's true. I do like Foster's. Actually, I like Foster's Premium a little more. Some people don't think there's a difference between the two, that it comes out of the same spigot. But
there's a difference.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference. But Foster's has always been a good, nice, clean, crisp beer for me to enjoy on a Monday or Sunday morning.
Yeah, or Sunday morning.
Monday
breakfast.
All right.
You know,
Gene and James, what are you guys enjoying in your glasses right now?
Well, that's what I need to tell you guys. It's like there's many people that actually have written to me saying that, and this is all in all truth and all seriousness, a lot of people have gotten a little bit tweaked about the fact that I'm promoting beer, and I actually am not whatsoever in these pint glasses, because
You've come to the wrong show.
no, it's just that people like
Root beer works.
They can drink anything out of them, and it's like I've actually gotten a few kind of tweaked little messages saying, blah 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 whatever, and it'd be great glasses. I like them, but hey, listen, you don't have to have beer in them. You can have anything.
Oh no, it's rock and roll by the pint, and it could be a pint of tea, it could be a pint of soda, it could be a pint of
a pint of
milk,
rock and roll is what it is.
Or a Greyhound.
And so enjoy whatever you want out of them. It's just really, personally, again, going back to the merchandising, when I can't find a piece of merchandising that I like, I try to make it. The bottom line is, it's like I'm not promoting anything for anybody. It's just that you have a good time, and I want you to enjoy the glass.
Yeah. There's a really cool picture on the Rock and Roll by the Pint Facebook page of a young man enjoying milk and cookies in his Ronnie James Dio glass, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Well, one thing that we always promote on Beer Guys TV is moderation is the key. Never drink and drive. Always use a designated driver, and you can maybe have a beer in it once, rinse her out, and put a little pop
once. I think 2 beers, and then maybe you can put
whatever works for you. You must know your own limitations.
I do,
and go from there. But we don't advocate large overconsumption, shall we say? But we do advocate consuming in a wonderful glass, especially with a special photo like this that you can't get anywhere but at Rock and Roll by the Pint.
That's right.
.com. So
some would say it could be very dangerous to do an interview drinking and driving.
It could be.
Very much so.
This
Hey,
actually,
Gene, I got a question. Now, you have a glass coming up, that and that was Stand Up and Shout. You said?
Man of Silver
Oh, Man of the Silver.
Mountain.
Yeah, Man of the Silver. Now, back briefly with Dio. So, how do the folks with the Dio organization feel about the glass?
well, like anybody, if it looks cool and if it's good
Yeah.
and if it shows respect and it's done quality and properly, it's a given. It's good. It's I wouldn't put out anything that I wouldn't buy myself, and
Right.
I can't find these to buy. I looked all over the internet for other pint glasses, and I found that other bands had just their logos or whatnot on it, and this is very different. So I just thought, you know what, if I want to buy it, then I would buy it, but there is nowhere to buy it, so I'll make it.
Well, Gene, are there any limited quantities to these, or are they available as long as you're making them?
No, as long as I keep making them and keep putting them out, you can keep buying them.
Excellent.
What I think is cool about these glasses is that they're actual photographs.
Yeah.
It's not like a hand-drawn image or a computer-generated thing. It's an actual photograph that Gene took, and he was able to put this on the glass. And that's what makes it cool, because these are the guys actually playing or singing or up in front of a crowd.
Actually, I have to tell you, the Ronnie James Dio, not so much the slash, because that's a straight-ahead image. That's just the image by itself. But with Ronnie being the first one, there is a kind of a, well, I guess angelic kind of ray that comes from behind that I had some artwork
Kind of
done.
sunburst, yeah.
Yeah, and that comes from actually a rock and roll guy. There's a guy named Billy White who is a longtime friend and an artist. And if you don't know Billy White's name, he is responsible for the Appetite for Destruction album cover. And
okay.
he did that.
Oh,
okay.
cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's a friend of mine, and he has a company called Fuse Arts. And I gave him a couple of images, or a couple of versions of this picture, and he just knocked it out of the park and said, "How about this?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Don't touch anything. Don't move anything. That's it." And
Well, the image actually reminds me of, when I saw Ronnie. I can't remember what tour it was, but I think it was maybe it was 84, maybe 83. And he had the dragon on the tour with him.
that was Sacred Heart tour, maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I was there, so I would remember.
And he had the laser.
The laser sword.
And that would shine from behind him, and it did all this cool little dance and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of that image of when I saw him.
Well, I actually
that
have the
tour.
photo of that dragon and Ronnie with a sword, and I actually was going to attempt to do that, and it was just Ronnie would be compared to the dragon, it would be a little too small. So I thought, I'm not going to put that on there, and I did the album called Intermission. If you have an EP called Intermission, I did the album cover for that.
Oh. I think I might have that one in my vinyl collection.
As you should.
And
As you should.
if I don't, I'd be surprised, because I consumed pretty much anything that Ronnie produced.
You ate that album?
Wow.
You ate that album?
Well, not only do we get to hear about lovely beers on this episode, but we get to hear all kinds of history too. I mean, back behind the scenes stuff from Gene and from James, and we just got the lowdown from Jer.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, wow.
Now
Extreme
we are
lowdown.
here at Monster House, doing this interview at Monster House.
I was going to ask you about that, Gene. Tell us about Monster House.
Why don't you let James tell you about Monster House?
Gentlemen,
Oh,
Monster
James,
House,
lay it on us.
Monster House isn't as scary as it sounds. It's my production company.
Good.
I do videos for music manufacturers in between my little tours and forays into the music world. And we're doing really well. We've been working, putting out a bunch of stuff for the Aphex company. We've been doing some charitable donation stuff for companies like the Boot Campaign, which do a great job promoting raising money for troops who are returning from service.
Awesome.
Done some stuff for Ashdown Corporation, and we keep growing. So we're working on quite a few little interesting projects here, and I'm glad that Gene was able to bring a bunch of beer here for a change, because we don't drink as much as we should.
Well, Monster House. Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Speaking of beer,
yes,
Brent is sharing a homebrew.
Yes.
And this is awesome.
I didn't think so.
Free is great.
I haven't tried it yet.
Free is great.
It is a good. Brent, tell us about this brew.
Here's the terrible thing. Tell us about the brew. Well, at my house, brewing beer is a once a month thing. So,
like
literally,
there is no label. It's just
literally it was a
bottle.
gift. It was, you get this beer kit every single month. Oh, but I don't get to pick it? No, you don't get to pick it. So, I've graduated from this time-consuming process of actually bottling beer to the whole kegging system. And this is one of the few bottles of beer I have left. And, of course, me being the ingenious guy that I am, didn't put a label on it. So
you don't even know what it is.
It's a mystery beer.
Wow, and it's a good one.
It's good. Can you brew it again?
I probably could.
Can you brew it again? Zip.
I'm enjoying that in my slash glass.
And Gene and James, Brent's going to send you each a bottle, courtesy of Beer Guys TV. What?
All right. Wow, we're psyched. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think there's certain laws that prohibit that.
Oh, never mind.
Who's going to know? Come on.
Just bubble wrap it.
Yeah, I don't want to. Hey guys, could you bail me out? Start a fund or something?
Nope. We need a new co-host.
Oh, thank you. Throw me under the bus.
Yeah.
Well, hey, James, I got a question for you as far as current projects in music-wise, and that is Hale. How's that coming along right now? What's new with that project?
Well, Hale's a band that started before I had joined it. I was in Megadeth as Hale had started doing their thing, and I think it was Mark Abatista, who you've seen with me on The Amazing Race. It was his brainchild. I think he had started with the guitar player of Kiss. I need your help on this. Bruce, yes, thank you. Bruce Kulick. He talked to Bruce Kulick about doing this thing where you go to the furthest reaches of the planet, places where people don't get to see, people of our caliber who've been touring for years and years, who, in America you get to see all the time, and, South America you get to see all the time. But I'm trying to go to these just really far-reaching places in Russia and through the Ukraine. And all over the world, and trying to get like these superstar bands together to do nothing more than promote the music they love. So what they would do is at the time I think it was David Elfson ended up starting it. They had Paul Bostaff, they had Andreas Kisser, Roy Mayorga, all these kind of giants of heavy metal. And so the idea of this thing was to kind of bring heavy metal to people who couldn't normally see it. A great experience for everybody involved. I was brought in after I left Megadeth. David Ellison went back to Megadeth, and that's why I left the band. But
Right.
They were going to have Paul Gray go out from Slipknot, the bass player, and they were all set to go to Russia. And we all heard on the radio the tragedy. He had overdosed in a hotel, and this was three days before they were set to get on a plane and go and start these shows in Russia. Hell. And so it's really funny because a friend of mine had called me up and said, hey, dude, you should give these guys a call because, they're supposed to do shows. And I immediately said, too ghoulish. I don't really want to jump, onto this thing. It just didn't feel right. And my phone rang 10 minutes later, and it was Mark calling me up on behalf of the rest of the guys in the band. Tim Ripper Owens as well was singing. And he implored me. He said, is there any way you can do this? Because the guys still want to go out. We know that Paul still wanted to do this. If there's any way you could do this, because we'll be letting down a lot of people. And so, you know, it was a difficult challenge because I had to learn a 20-song set of half music that I'd never played. You know, a lot of songs by Slayer and bands like that I knew, but I never actually put my hands on the fretboard and played them. But anyway, you know, I kind of bared down to it and got out and ended up joining the band. We went out, and as soon as I got out there, I realized the relevance of this. We actually dedicated that tour to Paul Gray's memory because a lot of people were looking forward to seeing him. We played some Slipknot songs. But I got to tell you, man, just seeing these audiences who haven't had a chance to experience all these people they've heard on record in a club, close and personal, it was very moving. And it was really great to be a part of that. And so from that, we kind of moved from one place to another. We played Lebanon, we played in Beirut, we played in Turkey. Wow. I mean, we've been to all these crazy places, which again, as I mentioned before, which is what kind of gave me the impetus to agree to do the crazy notion of getting on The Amazing Race, because again, traveling to all these far-reaching places in the world with, you know, nothing more than just kind of, you know, your balls and your attitude, you know, seeing if you can do it or not.
Balls, base, and attitude.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say you got a base.
So I have a question for you. I mean, you've played all over the world, and you just got done telling us you played over in Lebanon. Now, compared to playing somewhere in Lebanon, as opposed to playing, say, Brazil, how was the energy in Lebanon compared to something like that?
Absolutely, there's no difference, and the reason is, I mean, true fans of heavy metal or rock and roll music or anything in that genre, they're vehement, and the fact that, like here in America, we've had it, you know, we can get it, you know, all over. We can go down to a local club and go see, especially out here in LA or, you know, on any of the coasts, you can go see the biggest bands almost on any weekend. I mean,
right.
I hate to even say, you know, these fans are appreciative because it almost connotes like, you know, it was so nice to give this to them. It's not that at all. What it is they really never had the opportunity to get close to these people that they've come to, you know, hear on other records and really kind of, you know, live out. I mean, I'm a fan of so many bands too, and so, you know, I go right there. And to see that kind of looking back at me, you know, it makes me feel younger in a way, and it makes me feel excited about the music all over again. And I think it's a great thing.
So do you think it's when you're playing a show like that to people that hardly ever, if this might be the only time in their lifetime they get to see a band on the caliber that you guys are, does it almost make you feel like all of a sudden this is like one of your first shows because of so much energy being fed back to you from the crowd?
You know what? Every show I do, I feel that way. So it's not really fair to place that there. But there's something special that you take away. And we always make sure, like the band always makes sure to stop after the show and stop and greet the fans. And it's not to make extra money or any of that stuff at all. It's just because we're there. And it's really nice to kind of get and, you know, experience other people's perspective. And, you know, people all over the world are very warm. You know, I think we have a misconception in America about, you know, people's tolerance for Americans. You would be shocked at how open and how familiar and how much like us everyone else in the world are.
For projects of any size, from simple home or business improvements to new home construction, Litchfield Building Center is the place to go. Litchfield Building Center offers top-of-the-line products and services and feature in-house drafting and designs, general contracting, boom services, and more, along with free estimates and delivery. No matter what project you have in mind, talk to Dennis and the staff at Litchfield Building Center in Litchfield, Minnesota. Go online to litchfieldbuildingcenter.com. Litchfield Building Center, building on small-town pride. Hey, and we're back in here on this special Beer Guys TV podcast. Greg, Jerry, Shane, and Brent.
And Rock and Roll by the Pint.
rockandrollbythepint.com. Check it out. And we're talking all the way from Los Angeles, California. Ooh. Talking with Gene Kirkland and James Lomenzo. Hey, guys.
Hey,
thanks
beer
for being...
guys.
Woo! Hey, beer guys. Gotta love that from those guys.
That's right.
Rockandrollbythepint.com. Gene, you've done a great job here with these fantastic glasses, which can be used for anything, by the way. But we chose to use them for beer. Imagine that.
Of course. Go figure, beer guys. Go figure.
I know. We're weird that way. But, Gene, you know, we talked to you and James here for a while and had some good stories, and we appreciate that. But Gene, what folks just have to log on. We just want to make sure that they get the idea here. Just got to go to log on to rockandrollbythepint.com, correct?
That's all you got to do. Just as simple as that. Real easy peasy.
Sounds hard. Do you need a computer?
Well, you might. You might need a little Shinko machine or a little bit of.
Yeah.
You have to go to the machine.
Naked lady machine.
I want one.
Oh, is that what you do, Jer?
I heard that you can do that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, it's rock in with an N.
With an N, yes. Rockandrollbythepint.com. And
right. So, so you mentioned the Man in the Silver Mountain glass.
Yeah.
Do you have an ETA on when that glass might be coming out?
Actually, it's probably by the time this lovely conversation comes out, it will have been out.
So it will be available.
Yes, it will.
Very shortly.
Oh, it will.
So they're going to have 3 glasses to choose from.
Right.
You could have it for Thanksgiving dinner.
And Christmas.
Yes.
And Christmas even.
And ring in the new year.
It would
That's
make a
right.
great.
Actually,
great
it's funny
Christmas
enough
present.
because in America we have what's called a 6-pack, but in overseas there's the pint glasses in 4-packs. So I'm going to try to release each one a month, and eventually it will be 4 packs available. So there you go.
That is very cool. Yeah, and in fact, you're right. In overseas, beer comes in 4-packs.
Correct.
Yes,
Over
4
here,
packs
it's 6
and
packs.
more.
And actually, some craft breweries now are releasing beer in 4-packs.
The Liney.
The Line
the Big
Kugels,
Eddie.
the Big Eddie is a 4-pack.
Yep.
Of course, you got your what we call the snob or slob beers, or slob beers. We used to call the slob beers, and that's the 24-pack plus 8 or whatever, for $4.99.
30-pack.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, we enjoy the craft beers mostly. Some of the American lagers are good too, but.
Well, hey,
try anything.
That's the whole point of Beer Guys TV is, hey, try something different. You may not love it, but hey, you can try it by the pint.
That's right. Try it by the pint.
Right. Yeah.
In your Dio glass, your slash glass.
Yeah.
And it could
the
be
new glass is coming out.
And it could be a craft root beer even.
It could be a craft root beer because there
by
are
the
some
way-
of those up here.
Oh, absolutely, and good ones too.
Just to let you know that when I release the Dio glass, the slash glass will come out as well. They're going to both come out at the same time, so the new glasses will both be in sync. So, although I don't like in sync,
You're doing it in sync
no,
glass?
no.
Oh my
See,
God,
I knew
this
it.
is
I
going
knew
on.
you were going to go there. I knew the in sync thing was going to come out.
It's James glass
Yeah,
coming
what's
out. But this is the old bass player thing again coming up, Jer.
Yeah.
Where's the love?
When's the bass player getting some love?
Oh,
The bass player's just fine.
He gets plenty of love.
Yeah,
don't worry.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll bet he
As long as
does.
it's full of decapitated heads, he's quite happy.
I think for the next podcast, I think you guys should fly here to Minnesota and come to our studio.
Oh, hell no.
Bring
You're
your
going to
girls.
fly out here.
Sounds cold.
We don't do cold. We don't do cold.
How about vice
granted,
versa
it's
then?
good for the beer.
We can fly out there. That'd
Come
be
and
awesome.
visit.
Yeah.
Oh man! Well, I tell you what, we're gonna wrap things up here, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules and being on Beer Guys TV and talking about rock and roll by the pint. Gene Kirkland, famous rock and roll photographer, and Gene, we're looking forward to the glasses in the future, and these ones awesome right out of the box, and you can order these at rockandrollbythepint.com. And fantastic shipping, top quality all the way. Thank you, Gene. We appreciate your efforts there.
And thank James for being on the show.
Oh, yes.
Guess bass player extraordinaire.
That's right.
Thank
He's the go-to guy.
Yay!
Thank you, beer guys. If you had capes, I know you could fly.
Yes. Where's your cake?
You guys are a lot of fun. We do appreciate it. And as we always say here on Beer Guys TV, for Jerry, Shane, what's your name, Brent?
Brent.
James, Gene,
And the girls.
and the girls. I'm Greg Johnson, and until next time, beers to ya.
That was good. That was awesome. I heard all the bottles.
Beer Guys TV reminds you to drink responsibly. Never drink and drive, and always use a DD. Be sure to expand your beer list by trying something different. Remember to check out BeerGuysTV.com and find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for listening to this Beer Guys TV podcast. Sponsor messages you hear on our podcast are paid endorsements unless otherwise stated. These messages help us bring Beer Guys TV to you. We encourage you to support our sponsors so that we may continue to provide quality entertainment and information. Our reviews are honest opinions. Your opinion and taste may vary. We encourage you to try beers and products for yourself and form your own opinions. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what beer you like and send us your suggestions for us to review. You can contact us at beerguystv@gmail.com.